But Mike couldn't help but feel frustrated. Why do people treat me like I'm sick? He thought. I can function just fine on my own. As they walked, the group started chatting about a beautiful girl from school. But they had no idea that something terrifying was about to happen. One of the students reached his house and said goodbye, heading inside. The rest continued walking until one of the girls suddenly stopped. "Do you guys smell that?" she asked. It was a strange, nauseating stench. Before they could react, the putrid odor became unbearable, making them gag. Then, in the blink of an eye, the creatures appeared. Monsters. The sight of them sent a wave of pure terror through the group. These weren't just any monsters. These were horrific, grotesque creatures that looked so deadly, so utterly terrifying, that anyone would be paralyzed with fear. A distress call was immediately sent to Laojiao. Reports of monsters attacking people in the city had already been circulating, but now, lives were in immediate danger. "Get there as fast as you can," his commander ordered. Meanwhile, the boy who had just left the group was running for his life, sprinting through the streets as fast as his legs could carry him. Mike keeps pushing past his friends, determined to escape, but suddenly, a monstrous creature blocks his path. Realizing the danger, Mike yells at his teammate, "Run! I'll hold it off!" He tries to flee as well, but he isn't fast enough. One of the monsters fixates on him, chasing him relentlessly. As Mike keeps running, another horrifying creature appears in front of him, chewing on a human hand. Just then, Laojiao activates a barrier that allows humans to pass through but traps the monsters inside. The people in the city watch in shock, struggling to comprehend what just happened. Laojiao's team receives orders to reach the location immediately, while Laojiao himself is told to join the battlefield as soon as the barrier's up. Meanwhile, Mike finds himself standing alone, armed with nothing but a wooden stake, while the ravenous monsters prepare to attack. He recalls a childhood memory staring at the moon, falling off the roof and losing his eyesight. "People thought I was crazy when I talked about the monsters," he mutters. "But here they are, right in front of me. This was supposed to be the start of a new life for me," Mike says, tightening his grip on the stake. "I won't let it end at the hands of these disgusting creatures." Though he tries to fight back, he's just an ordinary human. But something begins to change. His anger fuels his strength. His reflexes become sharper. And then suddenly, the bandages over his eyes fall off. With all his might, he throws a devastating punch at the monster, and in that instant, he sees the asylum of the gods. A forbidden place, where something is trying to break free. The monster retaliates, biting deep into Mike's shoulder, but he doesn't stop. Summoning every ounce of strength, he drives his stake straight into the creature's gut. Another monster rushes toward him, but Mike fights back using nothing but his sheer willpower. Every strike he lands against the monsters sends shockwaves through the asylum of the gods, weakening its locks. But soon he's overwhelmed. Several monsters pin him down, trying to tear him apart. Then it happens. Mike finally unleashes Aylmer, breaking the final seal. A divine entity watches from above, an ancient goddess witnessing his transformation. In that moment, an immense energy surges through Mike, his eyes radiating a terrifying power. Phew! A beam of scorching light erupts from them, piercing the sky. The sheer heat melts the surrounding glass. Laojiao and the other slayers witness the spectacle, feeling the surge of energy. "It's as if a new power has been born," one of them says in awe. Their leader confirms it. "Not this. This is divine power." Mike's newfound abilities include burning sacred strength and the breath of creation. Forces so overwhelming that they feel like the birth of a new god. In that moment, he's no longer just Mike, he is reborn as a Michael, the king of angels. The prophecy has come true. A divine agent has awakened in a new form. As the transformation completes, Mike's vision is miraculously restored. He looks around, seeing the world clearer than ever before. The God of Michael has risen. At the same time, he unlocked the doors to the Asylum of the Gods, revealing 6 secret rooms, each belonging to a different god. The energy radiating from Mike's body was so intense that even the monsters were terrified. But they didn't hesitate for long. One by one, they lunged at him, ready to attack. However, Mike's newfound powers and vision had enhanced his reflexes so much that with just a single strike, he could completely annihilate these monsters. In that moment, another monster launched an attack, but Mike dodged effortlessly and smirked, taunting, "Come on, let's see what you got." His attacks were relentless, almost godlike. The story had taken a new turn, introducing a moon god side of Mike. He fought so brutally that even monsters wouldn't treat humans with such savagery. Armed with nothing but a small rod, he slaughtered the demons mercilessly. But no matter how many he took down, more kept coming. Then, just as the god of Michael was about to unleash his full power, his combat style became so mesmerizing that any onlooker would be in awe. He barely needed to use his weapon. The sheer speed of his attacks was enough to create a massacre. Within moments, he had wiped out nearly all of them. But one final, furious monster remained. It charged at Mike with all its might only for a new character to make his grand entrance. Lao Zhao. Lao Zhao moved at lightning speed, tearing through the monster with expert precision. It was as if he had been waiting for this moment. One by one, he cut the creatures down, his unique fighting style leaving no room for defense. In the blink of an eye, he had decapitated the monster without anyone realizing what had happened. Mike watched in shock. Lao Zhao smirked and asked, "Kid, how do you think I did?" Mike nodded. "Pretty good, and you're pretty handsome too," Lao Zhao laughed. "So, kid, do you want to be like me?" But Mike didn't hesitate. "Nope," he said, casually turning away in style. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the palace of the demigods, where the major gods had gathered. The news had spread another divine agent of the gods had been born. They called him Michael's divine agent. Everyone knew who Michael was, but the real Michael was nowhere to be found. Panic spread among the gods. Michael had to be found. No matter what, he had to return. Back on Earth, we see a truck driving along a deserted road. The driver, speaking on his phone, reassured his boss, "Don't worry, boss. The delivery will be made soon." Inside the truck, an entire load of unconscious monsters. Right now they were dormant, but soon that peace would shatter. These beasts were being transported straight into the city. The scene shifts again to Mike's home. He finally arrives, covered in bloodstains and wearing torn clothes. His younger brother, Len, looks at him with concern. "Brother, why are you so late?" Len asks. Mike forces a tired smile. "Nothing, just a little accident. I'm exhausted. I need to sleep." But Lane and his dog could smell the blood on Mike's body, his own, mixed with the monsters he had slain. Mike muttered to himself, "My brother has figured it out. He knows my body is covered in blood." Just then, we see Mike traveling deep into his own mind, unlocking the towering gates of the Asylum of the Gods. It was a massive, mysterious building, unlike anything he had ever seen before. As the enormous doors creaked open, Mike whispered, "Finally, I did it. Let's see what secrets you've been hiding all this time." But as Lane moved forward, strange disturbances rippled through the air, triggering more doors to unlock. Even in the face of the unknown, Mike showed no fear. His chest puffed out, and he strode ahead with unwavering confidence. Inside, it felt eerily familiar, like a hospital. But not just any hospital, a mental asylum. The walls, the doors, the eerie silence. Everything mirrored a real-world psychiatric facility, down to the smallest detail. The entire place gave off a chilling vibe, as if it had housed tormented souls for centuries. Mike reached the first door, but it wasn't like anything from the real world. He smirked. Finally, something different from my world. But when he tried to push it open, it wouldn't budge. He attempted the other doors, but none of them moved an inch. Frustrated, he muttered, "I thought I'd find gods in here, but all I see are locked doors." Then he arrived at the final door, the one belonging to the High Moon God. The moment Mike placed his hand on the lock, his power surged through him. The door swung open effortlessly, as if it had been waiting for him all along. Beyond the door, Mike saw something breathtaking, a vast ocean. But this wasn't water. It was pure spiritual energy, shimmering like liquid stardust. And in the center, seated on a floating platform, was an angel. The moment their eyes met, the entire room shifted. In an instant, the grand mystical ocean was gone. Mike found himself standing in a hospital once again. His heart pounded. What just happened? His reality had changed. But was it real? Or was he merely losing himself in the depths of the asylum of the gods? Mike tries to talk to them, saying, "Hello, can you tell me something?" But the angels don't even look at him. As he takes a step forward, hidden formations suddenly activate around him. These aren't just ordinary formations. They have been waiting for the arrival of their rightful heir. As Mike reads the inscriptions, he realizes something shocking. The goddess before him is one of the 5 creator gods from ancient Greek mythology. She is known as the goddess of the moon and also revered as the mother of gods. However, her power levels and activation state are at absolute zero. Mike, unsure whether this is real or just an illusion, decides to approach her. He asks, "Can you hear me?" At that moment, the goddess suddenly awakens. Mike steps back in fear, uncertain about what is happening. But then she looks at him and says, "At last, you have found me, my child. I have been waiting for you for so long." Mike is stunned. Could this really be his mother? The goddess of the moon steps forward with overwhelming joy. But instead of embracing him, she picks up an ancient pot and cradles it, whispering, "My child, I have waited for you for so long." She begins to cry uncontrollably while holding the object. Mike watches in confusion, expecting her to acknowledge him. Instead, she continues talking to inanimate objects as if they were her children. It becomes clear to Mike. She is mentally unstable. She needs serious treatment because she is not recognizing reality anymore. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, a character named Lao Zhao and his companions are discussing something mysterious. They mention the new agent of the god of Michael, wondering who he really is. "The person I saw was a child, and if he's a child, he must go to school, right?" The next day, Lao Zhao stands in front of a school, waiting for Mike. As he watches students pass by, a little boy approaches him, crying. At that moment, Mike walks into the school, determined to find answers. He searches through books on ancient mythology, hoping to understand what happened to him. Outside, Lao Chao has been waiting for a long time. To pass the time, he sketches Mike's face and asks students if they recognize him. However, they seem more afraid of him than willing to help. Meanwhile, Mike continues his research and uncovers a disturbing truth. His experiences might be connected to a condition known as illusion disorder. Those who suffer from it are trapped between reality and their mental world, often leading to their downfall. But Mike is determined no matter what, he will uncover the truth. A doctor had already advised him that he needed dual treatment, medication and psychological guidance. Mike takes this advice seriously, making sure to follow both methods. Meanwhile, Lao Zhao receives a call from his team, urging him to find the god's agent before it's too late. Despite his tough mission, Lao Zhao is known as a kind-hearted person who helps others. As night falls, we see the goddess of the moon in her temple. She's mentally unstable and relies on medication. Just then, Mike enters, disguised as a doctor. The goddess still holds onto the ancient pot and murmurs, "My child, don't worry. Your older brother will return soon. I know he has taken too long, but he will come back. I regret not taking care of both of you properly when you were young. But when he returns, I will teach him a lesson for making me wait this long." In reality, 3,000 years have passed. Overwhelmed with grief, the goddess cries out, "Why haven't you returned, my son?" Her sorrow is unbearable, and even Mike can't stand watching her in so much pain. Despite everything, he walks up to her and embraces her, saying, "Mother, I'm back now. You don't need to cry anymore. Your wait is over." Hearing this, the goddess of the moon breaks down, sobbing uncontrollably. "You've finally returned, my child. You have no idea how much I suffered in your absence." As her tears fall onto Mike's body, something unexpected happens. His treatment progresses from 3% to a much higher level. His body undergoes a transformation, unlocking divine abilities within him. These powers aren't ordinary. They are on a godlike level. As Mike roamed the city, his powers made him appear almost otherworldly, his body radiating energy. He was told that at night, his speed, strength, endurance, and durability would increase fivefold enough to turn any normal human into a superhuman. The moment he started leaping across buildings, he realized he was now far stronger than any other creature in the city. His speed rivaled that of the Flash, allowing him to travel at incredible velocities. But that wasn't all. He was informed that as his power level increased at night, he would also gain the ability to communicate with nocturnal creatures. Testing his newfound powers, Mike moved through the city, his speed and strength now far beyond human limits. At one point, he landed directly on top of a speeding train, a visually stunning sight. His reflexes were now razor sharp, and nothing seemed to be able to harm him anymore. He was told that soon he would be known as the God of Michael. Unseen by the public, he moved undetected through the city, his incredible speed and strength allowing him to scale even the tallest towers with ease. He could run up walls, leap over vast distances, and reach the highest point in the city in mere seconds. But even that wasn't enough for Mike. He jumped off the tallest tower, the energy radiating from his body glowing brighter as he fell. Curious to know what Mike will do with his newfound superhuman powers? Watch Part 3.